and has come under fire for that. Anyway, transitioning to an earlier point, Bernie Sanders believes in a lot. He has pioneered several issues that are now at the forefront of American politics. To begin, one of his signature issues, tying into his background living in New York City and his policies regarding income inequality, is $15 minimum wage.
Something that's gotten really popular in New York City at the time, although it's not always being followed. Some of his other core issues are helping Puerto Rico and college for all. What else?
He also advocates for women's rights, for getting the Green New Deal, which has been a little bit of a controversial piece of legislation, although nobody really knows anything about it because we're not talking about it. And going a little more on his College for All, just reading off of his website, he's trying to make public colleges, universities, and trade schools tuition free, and this is pretty popular with students. I think this would be something I would like. You would like.
Same here.
And also lowering student debt and interest rates on student loans is yet another thing he's advocating for very strongly.
It just keeps the pattern going of what we know this about Bernie is that he's close with younger people and he's really trying to get younger voters, because something that at least I would have predicted as someone older like him to enter a race, I would think older people would be with him, and that's probably what he thought, but he went for the younger people and he's really succeeding, as we can see here.
Yes, he's amassed a very young supporter base, and it's a very incredible feat. And also, he ties in his issues with his experience growing up in New York City, and this is a very popular point in his campaign advertisements when he turns it into an us v them versus big Wall Street investors and brokers and whatnot. And coming to his signature issue, which has also been very popular with other politicians, Medicare for All. Would you care to explain?
I would love to Medicare to explain. Get it? No.
Yes.
Sorry. So Medicare for All is just gotta let Alex laugh it out here. Medicare for All has been something that we've seen through so many candidates this year, including Kamala Harris and
Julian Castro,
Elizabeth Warren, Bernard Sanders. So Medicare for All is not something that we, put Bernie Sanders as very unique for choosing Medicare for All, but I think that for such a star candidate like him not being pro-Medicare for All is something that wouldn't be such a great decision, so I think it's a pretty normal thing to see in this election.
So his plan is to essentially join this movement or wave of countries that are accepting Medicare for All nowadays. And he's also trying to combat big pharma, lower prescription drug costs, and also he talks a fair bit about mental health as well. So with that being said, covering some of his major issues, we see this weird not the next one. We see this weird case of his signature issues, things that he's pioneered and fought for the last 30 years. How long has he been in politics?
Since 1981.
81.
So about 36, close to 40 years.
Nearly 40 years he's fought for these issues. But now you see, as you were saying, Julian Castro, Kamala Harris, Kirsten... You got to just say the name. Say the name.
Kirsten Gillibrand.
Gillibrand.
Potato. Sorry, that's me.
Excuse us. You see them all accepting these issues and making them their own almost. So do you think that Of course, any candidate can use issues, but do you think he should be credited with it? And that since he's been fighting for them for so long, that perhaps he deserves a nomination if all of these candidates are just paraphrasing?
Yeah, I agree. So many ideas and reasons why candidates are running is because of Bernie, and I think a lot of people don't notice that. But although he lost in the primaries in 2016, he started such a big movement. That's the word, of younger people putting these issues in front and really fighting for our country's rights. So yes, Bernie is the one who mostly started this movement, but I don't know if that's gonna bring him to victory because so many other people have done it, and it's just a spiral, it's a circle.
So again, as many points in this episode have tied into generational change, this again loops back to Buttigieg, who's kind of focused just on the big ideas. He's a traditional liberal guy. He supports abortion and whatnot.
Doesn't like Trump.
Does not like Trump. He does not. And he very much does not like Mike Pence in particular. Bernie knows exactly what he's fighting for. But do you think specific legislation, I'm going to be honest, laws can be very boring. Do you think that the big idea of having like a young new president, like someone like Buttigieg, and or someone who like a woman president, which I do think is long overdue. It's been overdue for the past 100 years, more than 100 years, since the U.S. began. Do you think that's more important than having someone who's pioneered all of these issues? Because we're at a moment of we just kind of got this extreme president who's very, very traditional and very conservative. So do you think we need a crazy new liberal president? Or do you want someone that's very specific in their legislation, someone that knows exactly what they're going to do?
That's a great question. How should we elect? Uh,
We should vote.
yeah,
I think we should vote.
you get what I'm saying. I think it's hard, but I think it depends on the person. Nowadays, especially younger people, have been really fighting for women's rights, which of course they should. And they're succeeding, and there's so many women candidates right now that it's much easier to elect a woman president. Go ahead.
And building off of that, just a quick note, Bernie's 2016 campaign, there were just rumors, and I don't know if it was an op-ed or something, but I saw in the New York Times a couple months ago sexual assault allegations in his 2016 campaign. Please proceed. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that's a very good point. But sadly, that's something that's gone through a lot of people. Not so much Democrats, but lots of famous actors and comedians who people have loved for so long. One person that comes to mind is Michael Jackson, whose music is loved by people all around the world, but he's had these sexual assault allegations, and people have gotten stuck in this question, do I still respect him, or things like that. So that's my answer to that point. Back to what we were talking about before, which is coming to my mind in 3 seconds.
2.
We have a technical thing. 20 seconds
20
left.
seconds. So just to answer our question first, sorry, we're a little short on time. Has Bernie Sanders lost his star power? I don't think he has, personally. I think that
I don't think he has either.
in this peculiarity of the race, I think you have a diverse group of candidates, and they all have something to offer. And Bernie Sanders